Hey folks, this is Keith and you're watching Barber's Auto Help. Today we're going to be replacing a window motor on a 95 Chevrolet Silverado. Let's go ahead and get into it. Take you a bone, and this is a screwdriver, it's not a bone. Sorry, I left my bone at work. A bone is actually a plastic kind of pry bar, if you will, that doesn't really mar the surfaces of your door panel here. So this here is a bone, and of course I'm filming at a later date. This panel here come in through the inside. There's a little tang that you gotta push in and release. Actually, it's right there, and right there. Push in on those little tangs. There's a little ribbed tang. Once you push in on it, this thing will pop right out. There's also another one back here, but you can't really get to that. You just kind of pull it straight out. But I'd rather you use one of these than a screwdriver on your panel so you don't really gouge it up and stuff. Go ahead and remove your window switch. We're going to start from the back here, like this. Once you pop it loose, pull it rearward a little bit to get that lock out. And go ahead and disconnect your switches. Let's pull that one right off. This one has a little tang on it. Push that tang down, pull out. This one right here has a locking tang on this side. Just push it in. Pull the connector out. This one, you may want to take a screwdriver and push it down in there and unlock it and then pull it out. Okay, you got to remove your sill panel, and just get up underneath it like that and push straight up. These slide into the door panel, and this slides right over that little locking tang. Okay, now we're going to remove our door panel and take your bone, put it up under the panel right here. And that was a lot easier than it really is. Just pull straight out. Once you get it right there, you're going to up with it and pull it right out of the way. Now this is the inside of the door panel here. You can see these little white, some of them are halfway actually missing and then worn out. And you can see the receptacles in the door. Some of them are broken and missing. So that's why mine was so easy to get out, but they should pop right out and pop right back in. Let's go ahead and remove our interior door handle. It's an 8mm nut there. Once you got your nut out, slide it forward like this. So once you got your door handle pulled up, you can see this bar here. We're going to go ahead and release that from the door handle. We're going to take our bone and just kind of pull that bar out of the hole there. Got one down here too. Bar there, and it should pop right out. Now be careful, because you can break these little plastic locks here, especially if they're brittle. So just be careful with that. Now I'm going to remove the speaker so we don't damage it. And yeah, I can see it's already damaged, but just want to show you. That out of the way there. I'll go ahead and pull this piece of plastic back a little bit to gain access to your wires. Go ahead and detach this wire harness from the door panel here. And dikes aren't really the right thing to use. There's a special tool that you can buy at Harbor Freight for probably around $8. That's actually for this purpose here. But this is working, so we'll do it this way. Grab you a screwdriver for this little locking tang here, and you just open it up just like that. And the rest of the wiring we're going to have to detach from the panel from the inside, so we're going to go ahead and remove this whole panel now. Now my window motor is locked up, so I can't very well lower the window like I'm supposed to in order to remove this thing, so I'm going to have to kind of do it not by the book. I got to lower the whole thing with the window already attached. Before you take the door panel off though, go ahead and detach your rods for your door latch from the door panel. Another one right there up underneath that. Alright, now we got some 7mm screws we got to take out, and one 10mm bolt. Let's go ahead and take those out. Okay, down here on the bottom, you see you got this little flap that goes into the door. It kind of locks into place there. I'm going to have to lift this thing up and then pull up and then down with it. Alright, just lift straight up like that. And by the way, I've already broke this free from the door. It is stuck to the door by this little weather strip here, or whatever you want to call it, double-sided tape, whatever. Go ahead and break that seal, and then you would be able to move it freely. So I'm going to lift up, and this does take a little bit of effort there. Pull out just like that. Now be very careful because the window is sliding down now. And if you got a bunch of towels, you may want to just go ahead and stuff a whole mess load of towels down there in that little cavity, just in case the window falls down. It'll fall on those towels and won't damage the window. Also, if you got window tint, there's a good chance you might mess up your window tint. Be careful and take precautions as necessary. So we're coming down, and immediately you can see that these cables that we detached from the panel are starting to get a little bit in our way there. So now we got to figure out how to get them loose. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull this little lock clip off. This is on your door lock actuator. And you may or may not be able to reuse that. If you put it back on, you find that it's weak and it's not holding it, get you another one. But that's on your door lock actuator, and that's going to allow us to move this cable down and out of the way there. Now I'm going to hold this push rod with these two fingers just like that and keep it from bending and breaking while I push down on the cable. Just like that. So the cable's free. And while you're doing all this, it's not a bad idea to have an assistant hold this window up or help you hold this in place, because this is very awkward and things could come tumbling down at any moment. So be very careful. Don't damage your window. Alright, now we're just going to very carefully detach our other wires. And we got one on this door lock actuator over here that we got to detach. Alright, and we're just going to go in here, and you can see you got your little release lever right here. Push that in while you're pulling up. There we go. And we got this tang right here that we have to push in. And I think that's my wife calling me. I'll go ahead and finish this cut and get to her, but pull that up like that. The wires come right through. And we also got our window motor down here that we have to disconnect electrically. I'm going to put you through the speaker hole here. And there's your electrical connector. And I'm going to try to put my fat arm down there. Here we go. Got your release lever right here. Push down on it and pull out. And you're not really supposed to pull on the wires, guys. It's kind of hard holding the camera and doing this at the same time, but anyway, there you go. Let's release our wire harness the rest of the way. You got this little tab right here. Push it through, squeeze it together and push it through, just like that. Go ahead and release this from the door there. Don't cut your wires. Just use this as like a pry bar between the harness and the door panel. Don't damage your wires. Check them when you're done, make sure they're not cut. Go ahead and stuff this all inside the door panel. Try to get this booger the rest of the way off. So we're going to lower it down, and you got your rods here. Pull those up as the door panel's coming down. You don't want to bend your rods or break your door lock or your latch back there. And we're going to get it down to about right here. And as I was saying earlier, it may not be a bad idea to grab you an assistant to hold that window up while you're doing this, because it could all come tumbling down. Stuff some towels, rags, get it really cushioned down there just in case it does fall. It won't break, so be careful. These two rollers right here, they slide back and forth. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide it one way and get one roller off, then we're going to slide it the other way and get the other roller off. So we're just going to take this whole assembly here, slide it back. There we go. Once you get to this point here, go ahead and let your window down all the way, and it will rest on that little pad there, and it's safe. Just leave it alone. Alright, so here's the back side of your door panel here. We got your window motor, and this is your regulator here. Now we got to detach the regulator from the panel. So we're going to flip it over. And you can see your regulator is held on by rivets. And we're going to go ahead and take a little punch. We're going to punch the center of the rivets out, and then we're going to drill the rivet out. Alright, for this I am using a nail. I would prefer you use a punch for this. Wear safety glasses. Just punch that centerpiece right out there. Same with this one. Just like that. There we go. There you go. Now I'm on the other side here, and I'm going to have to take this window motor out because I've got to move this little cog here back so that I can get to that rivet and that rivet in order to punch the center out and then drill them out. But this part right here, guys, you really have got to be careful. Once you release that motor, we're going to unscrew these bolts here, and we're going to release the motor from the window regulator. Once you do that, this thing's going to want to fly back on you. And it could get your fingers, it can get your arm, it can cut you. So you got to be very careful. I'm going to stick this drill bit right in this hole here, and I'm also going to stick another drill bit in this hole. And I would actually prefer that for you that you use something like this. I got this from work and I misjudged the size of it. I should have gotten a skinnier one, so that way I could put this through that hole and then bolt it on the other side of that hole there. So that way, with this big washer here, there's no chance of it going like that and this slipping and still getting you. So you got to be very careful. I suggest using a bolt with a washer and a nut. That's my preferred method. I don't suggest you do it this way. I'm sorry, I'm doing this on the weekend, guys. I get stuff from work, my tools and everything. You saw that I used a carpenter's hammer earlier. I got to use what I have available, but I'll tell you the right way to do it. Okay, on this motor here, the magnetized portion of it that has the motor inside of it is held on by 4 T25 bolts, and we're just going to take those bolts out. And you see it's starting to let go there. Actually, it's going the opposite way I told you. Regardless, stick those in there so that it doesn't get away from you, okay? Now that that's out of the way, we can actually manipulate this and move it back and forth like so. This is where a partner would really come in handy. It'll really make things much more safe for you. You want to support this panel with maybe your foot. Be sure you wear the proper footwear for this, or maybe your knee. Get your knee out of the way from anything that might swing. Have your partner hold these arms. Just keep it secure so that it doesn't get you, okay? And we've got this roller out right here. We're just gonna move it out of the way. See, we can just all the way back this way like that. And then we can lock it into place. Alright, once it's locked into place, we can then take care of these rivets here. Alright, I'm going to punch the centers out of them, just like before. Just like that. Now we're free from the entire thing. Okay, at this point, we've got 3 rivets that actually hold the gear side of this motor on. We're going to go ahead and take our drill to these 2, which are exposed already, and get them out. And this thing keeps on spinning, so I'm going to go ahead and take a pair of vice grips to the back side here, grab onto it, and try to keep that from spinning. That way the drill bit can actually dig into that and it won't just sitting there in free will. There we go, that seemed to do the trick. Alright, So that one's free, and you just want to go far enough just to get rid of that lip. You don't want to really drill through this material right here. Grab this one with my vice grips just like I did the other one. About far enough there. There we go. That one's free. Now we got to find out how to get to this one, and what we're going to do, grab you an assistant, have them hold this part, wrap this part with a rag, okay? Hold that part real good, and grab this part, push in, and we're gonna carefully release this thing here so that we can get to that other rivet. Be careful. All right, so there's our other rivet. Actually, let me back up here a little bit. We don't lock it in, it's gonna want to sling out all the way, and we don't want to do that. All right. So we locked it into that hole right there. That way when we take this out the rest of the way, it won't just go shing and probably chop off your finger in the process. Really guys, this is dangerous. Do this at your own risk, okay? You can really, really hurt yourself. If you do it, make sure you're mechanically inclined and that you feel comfortable doing this, and even then, do this at your own risk. Grab the back side there. Alright, and we're free. Let's flip this over here. This slides right out. Okay, at this point here guys, make sure your regulator's all cleaned of any foreign material, any metal shavings, things like that. In your kit, your hardware kit, you'll have two different types of bolts that go in the window motor. You have a couple flatheads and one round head. The round-headed bolt goes in this one out here, and the two flatheads go up underneath this gear here. Now before we put our motor on, go ahead and let's get one of those bolts started, get it in there, and then we're going to get our other flathead bolt in there too before we even put our motor in. An assistant would be incredibly awesome. Don't hurt yourself. We're going to go ahead and lock this in here. Now our other bolt hole is exposed. We put our other flathead in there. Now we could put our motor in right now, but I'd rather have this up just a little bit, so I'm going to release it again. That way later on it's going to be easier on us to get back in there. So I'm going to let this go. And I don't suggest putting your fingers in there like I'm doing. We're going to roll this back until we get our regulator in this position here. There we go. Now we can attach our motor. We got our two bolts already through. We're just going to guide our bolts in there and got our dowel for our sprocket on our motor through. And go ahead and put our other bolt in there. Put our nut on. That's a 7/16 nut, by the way. Go ahead and get our other nuts on. Go ahead and tighten our nuts down. 7/16 wrench. And this head doesn't seem to be moving as I torque it down, but if it does, you may have to maybe apply a little pressure that way on it to keep it stationary. Can't really get a pair of vice grips on it at this position, but you want to make sure that this is good and tight and that it's not just freewheeling. That one is freewheeling. See how that one's freewheeling right there? That head on it? can't really put a screwdriver on it at this point. So what you could do is you can go ahead and remove your, once your motor's in and you got your nuts in, you go ahead and remove your dowel here. And once your dowel is out of the way, you could hook this back up electrically to the door and hook your switch back up, and you could operate your motor to expose that head right there in order to put a screwdriver on it to keep it from freewheeling. Of course, keep your fingers away while it's operating electrically. You don't want to get your fingers caught up in here. You don't want to chop your fingers off, okay guys? Now I'm finding that if I just apply just a little bit of pressure to the back side of that head there, that's enough to hold it stationary without having to actually hook it back up electrically. And I'm actually able to tighten this thing back up. So that's good and tight. Don't put too much pressure on it. You don't want to warp your gear here. Now we're ready to put this regulator back on the panel here. This is the bottom of the door here, where that little tang actually goes up into your door there. That's the bottom, and where your openings are, that's the top. The motor goes towards the bottom near the speaker, and it faces in this direction here. This roller here faces down. Those two rollers face up. First thing we're going to do is put our front roller there in the guide. Once that's in place, then we can go ahead and mount our regulator onto the panel. I like to take these nuts here and put them in through the other side. Take my nuts and put them on this side here. Take this one, put it up there. There's 4 nuts that go on. 4 bolts. And please watch your eyes, guys. I know you see all these metal shavings all around me here. That stuff gets on your clothes and you accidentally wipe your eyes later on, and that gets in your eyeballs. Trust me, you won't be happy. Be careful. I should have vacuumed all this stuff up. Maybe you can do that and prevent yourself an accident, okay? Take this over here, put it on the front. Yeah, there have been several times where I'd be turning rotors at work and accidentally get a piece of metal in my eyeball. And you don't get much sleep that night or the next night. So, in worst case scenario, you end up going to the hospital having to get that metal dug out of your eyeball. We're going to take our 7/16 wrench, go ahead and tighten our nuts down. And if you get one that's freewheeling, there is a little receptacle on the other side that will receive a flat blade screwdriver. Just hold it in place with that screwdriver while you're tightening it, and make sure that they're good and tight. And I don't have a specification for you, sorry guys. Alright, we're good to go. Okay, if you got a partner, use one. We don't want to break our window. We're going to go ahead and raise our window a little bit. Have your partner hold it right there if you could. These rods right here are going to go on the inside of your regulator. We're going to go ahead and slide our front in first. There you go, that comes in. Slide it back. Slide it down just a little bit. All right, just about in there. All right, slide it forward. Get those rods back in there. Whew. Now, you didn't see the struggle, but there was a struggle. I'm able to edit, so if you're fighting, it's normal. Don't feel bad. All right, now we're going to slide this whole thing up just a little bit here. Okay. Make sure your rods are going up underneath your door lock actuator like so. They're routed correctly. At this point here, go ahead and pull your wiring back through your door. That comes out this hole here in the front. go. And y'all remember this part goes in that hole right there. Stick it through all the way. And be careful, this door panel is sharp too. You can cut yourself on this door panel here. Just be careful. That'll do for right now. This comes out just a little bit more. Sorry guys. Yeah, there we go. Still had more in there. All right, that one goes in there. All right, we'll pull that out the rest of the way later on. This one, that's the speaker. This one goes to the motor. So put that one back in there. And hook your motor back up electrically. Go ahead and route the rest of the harness where it's supposed to go. This is for your switch, your window switches. And I broke some of these, so you may have to zip tie these up. Alright, we're going to take this part of the harness here, run it through here. I'm going to do this one-handed, so forgive the shakiness. Got that little tang there. Gotta put it through this hole right there. And this is going to our door lock actuator. Turn the lights on for you. Pull your dust cover back. There's your connector there. Hook it back up. There we go. And that wiring goes in between the panel and the door lock actuator so that it doesn't fall into this area here. Get our dust cover back over our actuator there. This actually keeps it from getting rained on. Make sure that your push rods here for your door latch are routed on this side of the regulator, in between the panel and the regulator. Alright, now we're just going to slide this whole thing up. Have an assistant help you if you need. We're going to slide not only the window but the panel up. And remember, you got that little tang that goes down into the door there, right here. That has to go down onto that ledge. Okay, so now we're in position. Now we can go ahead and put our screws in and get it tightened up. All right. Alright, now I got you facing in through the panel here at your door lock actuator. We got to put this rod back up in the hole there, so that way this goes to your lock on your latch. That way the actuator can control your lock. Put that up through there like that. And your little locking tang here. You may or may not be able to reuse this. I'm going to put it on there and see how well it holds. It's holding pretty good, so I'd say that'd be alright. Now my other rod is right here. And we're just going to let that hang for right now. Alright, now we're going to put our interior door handle back in. And we got our two rods here, and it's pretty self-explanatory which rod goes on which hole on the door handle here. Of course, this rod for releasing the door latch goes in that hole. The other rod naturally goes in the other hole. And I know you can't really see what I'm doing. There we got the rod snapped into place there. Put your door up, or your door handle up there, slide it into the receptacles, and then slide the whole door handle backwards like that. And I probably took a screw out of this earlier. It's actually supposed to be a rivet, so when you go back together with it, put you a small rivet in there, and you'll be done with that. I don't have a rivet, but we're going to go ahead and continue with the video. And before you go any further, go ahead and make sure all this stuff works before you actually put everything back together. You can see I'm pulling the door handle there, and that rod is pulling. And let's see if it in fact does release the latch. I'm probably have to pull out on it while I do that. Let's see. yes, it does release. And let's try our lock. Yep, it works. So we're going to go ahead and proceed to put it back together. Go ahead and put our speaker back in. Make sure you remember which wires go where. Take note when you take them off. Alright, and this plastic here, once you get your harness routed and you got it, go ahead and zip tie these in. I don't have any zip ties, so we're going to proceed with the video, but zip tie these in so that they don't move around and they're routed correctly. Then go ahead and put this thing back in there. There we go. Go ahead and put your plastic back up, and at this point it's probably not sticky anymore, so you may have to use some duct tape on it. So, all right. So, like I said, it's not sticky anymore. So, what other choice you got but to use duct tape to tape it back up? Anyway, this is just our little secret. Don't tell nobody we did this, okay? But yeah, that'll work, and nobody's gonna see it. Your panel's going over it anyway, so big deal. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put our door panel back on, or door skin back on. This electrical connector goes to this light right here, which I don't have. It's not in there, so we're not going to plug it back in. But the rest of these electrical connectors are going to go through this hole and this hole right here, and they're going to plug into these devices here. So let's go ahead and route those before we actually put them in. This little 2-pin connector here goes there, and then the rest of them are going to go through this hole. Get them routed. Now the panel's actually going to go up over this little lip right here, and it's going to grab in there. So go ahead and put it in there just like that. And then the rest of it just pops into place. Let's put our 2 handle screws back in. Alright, let's put our door handle bezel back in. It just pops right in. Like so. And you probably want to have clean hands when you're doing this part here, guys. This truck is not really that big a deal, but I'm sure you don't want to get your interior marked up. So clean your hands before you do this. Maybe wear some gloves. You probably should wear gloves anyway before you get your skin all contaminated with bad stuff. Let's go ahead and put our electrical connector in right there. Hook up our switch again. Hook this all up electrically. And I'll be that way. There we go. There we go. Got that little hook there. It goes in first. Slides in like that, and then pop right in. There you go. And you got your cell panel. It kind of slides right in over this. You can also pop this out. I couldn't really get it out. I'm not going to chance it. It's made of plastic, you know, and how old this truck is, it's probably brittle. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to slide straight down. Try to match it up there and slide straight down with it like that. There we are. Alrighty. That's the moment of truth, guys. Let's see if it works. Hey. Well, there you go, folks. That's how you do a window motor. This probably applies to a lot of other GM pickup trucks out there, so this will probably work for more than just this car here. Check your manual, make sure that it does apply. Also, check your manual to make sure that all these procedures were in fact correct. And I'm sure you probably saw me wearing flip-flops. I don't suggest wearing flip-flops working on cars. I'm sorry, it's the weekend, guys. It's not safe to do that, but you don't do that, okay? Anyway, if you have any questions, please comment below, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. And please see the description for more information about this project, more important information. And Feel free to subscribe to my channel and like all that good stuff. Thank you guys.